Coaches, thank you for listening to the Race and Pace podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the podcast with all, and follow me at Coach Richards SR on Twitter and my podcast guest as well on social media. We love 5-star reviews. Episode 22 of The Wrap features Coach Steven Gilbert, the new head women's basketball coach for Colorado Northwestern Community College in Rangeley, Colorado. The talented Coach Gilbert has been a proven winner in both the high school and collegiate ranks and is a rising star in the profession. He believes a tough-nosed defense as the cornerstone of his program and utilizes multiple sides and offensive possessions to achieve high percentage shots. Taking over a program that struggled in the win-loss category last season is no easy task, but I guarantee you Coach Gilbert is up to the challenge and will work tirelessly to ensure success. As always, thank you for listening to the Race and Pace podcast. Welcome to episode 22 of the Race and Pace podcast. I'm your pod host, Coach Stuart Richards. Today, I'm thrilled to have Coach Steve Gilbert, the new head women's basketball coach for the Colorado Northwestern Community College Spartans in Rangeley, Colorado, on the show today. Coach Gilbert, how are you, sir?
Oh, man, I'm excited and blessed to be a part of the show. I've just been looking forward to it for so long, so I'm excited.
Man, and we thank you for being on the show. Looking forward to it as well. And so give coaches and listeners a brief bio of yourself, please.
Well, I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I played a little college ball down in Babson Park, Florida, which was pretty exciting. I've been coaching now for almost 10 years. I have been a head coach in the high school level. I've been an assistant coach at the high school level. I was blessed to be a part. I think my career really took off when I was a part of Showtime Hoops, which is now One Family in the AAU circuit. I did a stint in Chinook, Kansas at Neosho County Community College, where we broke tons of records. We've had the best record since 1999. We sent a girl Division I, 2 girls D2, and tons of girls NAIA. And now I'm the head coach of the Lady Spartans, and I'm so excited about that.
And congratulations on that, Coach. That is awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I know that you're a huge defensive coach, and so let's get into the defensive side of the ball first.
That's my favorite part of basketball.
Yeah, awesome. And so what concepts and philosophies are you applying and teaching on the defensive end of the court?
Well, we will be a hard-nosed man-to-man program this upcoming season. Our philosophy is 94 feet, and the reason is I came into this philosophy when I was coaching high school with the dudes at Grants, New Mexico. And I thought that if they want to be successful, not a lot of college teams actually just sit in zone. Most college teams, at least I want to say about 80-90% of college teams do run man-to-man. And so I didn't want to hinder kids just sitting in zone all day long. So we will make sure that every kid at our college has the capability of playing on at the next level and able to adapt to the different styles. And I really do believe in getting your face, causing tons of turnovers, and making sure that you sit down on D for the entire duration of the game. And we play 10 girls, and we get at it. So we're going to go up and down, and we're going to make sure that you are able to score on the opposite end of the court. So, and you're going to know when we walk in the gym that we're going to play hard, we're going to press hard, and our man-to-man is just going to be so fantastic. And that's where it's all going to start for us.
That's wonderful. And within your man-to-man, particularly extending out and then shrinking the court into your half-court looks,
yes.
Are you going to be more personnel driven in terms of forcing baseline or middle, or what is your philosophy in that manner?
So we're going to be a denial, one pass denial, and we're going to try to keep the ball out of the middle. I honestly believe that if you put the ball in the middle of the court, it just gives guards so much room to operate, and they can go either way. Back in the past, people was not really as talented as these kids these days. Like, all this whole different going left and right and doing the jelly and all that kind of stuff. These kids are really fantastic ball players. So our goal is going to be trying to contain and keep the ball out of the middle of the floor. So we will push baseline and we will push to a side of the court.
I love that because it also adds a degree of predictability. If you do get beat, you know where you're getting beat at, and so the help can arrive a little bit quicker. So
exactly.
That's and so within your system, do analytics play a part? And if they do, what are you looking for on the defensive end, analytically speaking?
Woo, analytics is huge in our program. And the reason is we're looking for number of deflections per game. We're looking for people who are getting down on the ground, how many 50-50 balls we're winning. And if we're losing a 50-50 ball, we're going to call timeout, and we're going to have to make that adjustment. If we're not getting at least between 8 and 12 deflections a quarter, then we're not doing our job defensively either. So those are two big major ones. And the deflections, they end up turning into steals. As many times you can touch the ball, and deflect it, either deflect out of bounds or deflect out of the opponent's hand, it's going to end up turning it into steal. So we look at every aspect. And my assistant coaches, they know. They sit on. I have an assistant coach for every single thing. Like, hey, you're watching how many times we take charges. Like, we're trying to get 5 charges a game. And those 5 charges can change a ball game. And I don't know if other coaches believe that, but I always tell my kids, if we get 5 charges a game, I promise you, we're going to walk out of here with a win, because that shows that they're going to have to change up their philosophy, because they understand if they keep driving to the basket, they're going to be in trouble, and they're going to be in foul trouble. So analytics is huge for us.
Man, that's awesome. Probably one of my weaknesses is I love the numbers of the game on both sides of the court. It just fascinates me how, the coaching community applies numbers and different metrics to their teams. And so that's awesome to hear that you're doing that too, Coach. And so I'm going to ask you this tough question. Does defense win championships?
Of course, I'm going to say yes. I think offense sell tickets. Everyone wants to see somebody just blow up the scoreboard 190 to 191, those kind of games. But it's going to come down to an effort of you actually stopping somebody. And I've always believed that defensive teams win more championships than offensive-minded teams. I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. I make no bones about it. I know we can score. And our philosophy for the Dallas Mavericks has always been to outscore our opponent ever since Dirk was there, okay? And we won 1 championship running that philosophy. Mike D'Antoni, he runs the 7-second offense, and they score tons of points, but they don't come out with a championship because they don't play defense. And I really think that if a team knuckles down and sits down and make you play to your weakness, you will struggle. Okay, so I do think that defense will always win championships.
Love it, Coach, and I can tell the passion in your voice, man. You're fired up and ready. Hey, we got the NBA coming back at the end of the month. Let's go.
I'm excited, man. I've been watching this basketball tournament since yesterday, and since the 4th of July and yesterday, and I'm actually rooting for Boeheim's Army. That's Coach Boeheim out of Syracuse. He got his alumni out there, and they still sitting at 2-3. They convert the man when they're down, and I'm just a huge basketball junkie, so I'm so excited for the NBA to come back. I'm excited for this basketball tournament, and I'm just so excited when I'm ready for college basketball. That's my primary thing. I've always been a college basketball guy over NBA, and and the reason is, NBA, you throw up points and you do all this and that, but in college, you have to either you're playing 4 years of your life, and either you're going to showcase and be good, or you're going to be working a 9 to 5. Okay. And so these kids, they know I'm trying to get to the league. I'm trying to get across seas. I'm trying to get to the G League. So they busting their tail every single day, putting in different workouts and doing all these different routines, dieting different. And so that makes me love this college game so much.
I love it. I love it. And so speaking of college basketball and NBA basketball or high school or FIBA or anything, what coaches or teams do you tend to study for gaining new defensive philosophies and ideas?
See, I'm a Chris Mack, and I also watch a lot of Tony Bennett. Any team that sits down and play D, I watch them. I'm a student of the game. I'm 31 years old. I'm still young. Okay, so I'm still developing myself, but I go to all these clinics. I go to clinics with people that have the same philosophy as myself. One of my mentors who coaches at Western Oklahoma State Community College, he says that he's a win mindset person because he says you got to score and you got to defend. So there's no defense or offensive minded to his philosophy. But I said, man, I agree to that in some certain extents. You can be like a Tony Bennett and be completely defensive minded and run an offense that just predicates to what your defensive concepts are. Like they ran the Euro ball screen offense and ran it into the pack line. Or you can be like Chris Mack and run the pack line in an aggressive style, or the Texas Techs who ran an aggressive pack line D. And I don't know if you remember, I think it was 2 years ago when they had the national championship between Texas Tech and Virginia. Everyone was like, man, that game was boring. I said, man, that was the most exciting game I've ever seen. It was just two great defenses going at it. And it was two different variations of the pack line. And so you got to see whose pack line was better. And so, that's it for me right there.
That was a great.
Those are the few people I follow.
Yeah, that's awesome. So can you give us a drill or some drills that you teach your defensive principles to your team?
We walk in practice every day, and the first thing I learned from this guy who used to coach for the Iowa Energy, he says if you call yourself a defensive-minded coach, at least 60 to 70% of your practice has to be predicated towards defense. So what we do is when you walk in, you get your stretch in, and we do our culture building, which we break down together. We have a little small talk about our core values, and then we go right into it. We go into two lines. We roll the ball. You blow the whistle. The first one down the court dives on it, and you got 2 seconds to hold on to that ball. The loser runs it down and back, and that down and back got to be done in 11 seconds. That's how we start practice every single day. And, a lot of people, they're like, why would you do that? What's the point? Because we're trying to win 50-50 balls. So after we're done doing that, we go right into the next defensive drill, and go straight into our transition defense. And one thing that a lot of coaches fail to realize is most of the game is played in transition. Off missed shots, boom, you're automatically in transition. No matter what you do, you'll be on 5-on-4, 3-on-2, 2-on-1. You're going to find yourself in so much transition. So we go into the 5 on the baseline, 5 on the free throw line. We throw the ball, you go touch the baseline. Now you're on 5-on-4 until that person get back, and we rotate into our right spaces. We do that. We do a lot of 3-on-2, 2-on-1 drills. Everything we do for the first half of our practices will always be defensive focus. And our key thing for us to be successful is mastering our shell drills. You're going to see so many actions. These coaches out here are amazing. They run I've been studying almost every single offense I can run into. Just like one of our great opponents, Salt Lake City, they run what offense? They run the spread offense that Brad Underwood runs. The exact same offense. And I'm like, man, so we're going to see this. So we're going to have to be ready for this back screen. So your shell defense is going to be very key, especially if you're a defensive-minded person.
That's awesome, Coach. And within your man-to-man principles and your pressure principles, what type of closeouts do you like to teach?
2 hands high. Never fails. Mm-hmm. I go 2 hands high because when we do us as our coaches, we break down automatically if you're a right-hander or a left-hander, and you can always say, all right, so number 14 is going, she's a lefty, so make sure you get that hand up to make sure you're closing out on the shot. But kids in the middle of the game, they get confused. They're not worried about what hand their player is. They're worried about getting a stop. So if you go 2 hands high, then that automatically takes away both anyway. And then you got to make sure that we close out. We have 3 types of closeouts. We have the rondo closeout. And, that means you can't shoot. Everybody know Rondo is not a great shooter. Rondo's a great penetrator. So we got the Rondo closeout, which means we're closing out short. We have the Kobe closeout, which that means you can shoot, you can drive. So we're just gonna do our best to predicate making sure that you don't beat us in either way. So we're gonna close out a little bit further than we do the Rondo. And then we have the Ray Allen closeout. And my girls hate me saying Ray Allen because they all be like, why we just don't call it the Curry? I said, because Ray Allen's the best shooter to me. So we have the Ray Allen closeout. So that means we're running you off the line. Okay. And then we're going to have our help defense right there until you are able to recover. So those are the 3 types of closeouts that we teach in our program.
Love it. Love it. I do some of the same thing. So within your post defense and your pressure, principles, how are you defending these penetrating actions like passes into the post or, simple post up plays? How are you defending that?
We're full frontal. A lot of people don't agree with that just because they might be a little bit taller than us or whatever. But when the ball's at the top of the key, we're 3/4. When the ball's on the wing, we're full frontal. We have the help on the backside, especially if you have a dominant post. Our conference has really great post players. So we have the full front with the help on the backside, and we're closing out the best we can. And when they try to skip the ball from one side of the court to the other. So I'm a full frontal guy. I used to do 3/4 front, but then when that player gets beat baseline and the opponent's post is so smart, all they got to do is seal my post player to where they can't help and free layup. So I was like, why don't we just go full frontal? And since I've been coaching, it's been very, very effective these last 3-4 years. So we're going to stick to that, the full frontal.
It's great. It's great. And so switching to the offensive side of the ball, what offensive principles do you teach to help transfer to your defensive style and pace for your offense?
So offensively, we set a lot of ball screens. I'm a ball screen kind of guy. The reason we do ball screens is because, it's especially, like I said, moving forward, I try to think what's going to help these kids get to the D1, D2, D3, or NAIA levels, what's going to get them to where they want to go. So we do our individuals. We have we have individuals throughout the day. And so we do a lot of ball screen actions. So learning how to come off the pick and roll, learning how to read the defense while coming off the pick and roll. We're going to be a very strong ball screen offense team.
That's awesome. And then, so within your ball screen offense, what type of alignment and spacing do you tend to favor?
Oh, we do NBA spacing, but we do the 4-out-1-ins type style. So we want to make sure that we get as much space as humanly possible. And the reason is it gives it takes away a little bit of the help. And if that help person comes, we can automatically skip it to the person that we need to. And then they make the read. We're trying to score off the 3rd and 4th pass. Everyone says score off the first pass. That's really tough. I don't think that's too good a basketball unless you're wide open. But if you score off that 2nd, 3rd, or 4th pass, that means the defense is moving. So once you come off that ball screen and you kick off, that guy that's in help, they're either going to probably jump in and move back to theirs, and that person got to shift back over. Then you move it again, and then here comes another ball screen coming. That's a lot of action to cover. The defense is eventually going to break down.
Yes, sir. So in your zone offense at the core, is it very different from man-to-man since you're a ball screen offensive man?
It's very different. I know a lot of these coaches like to run the same action. They're man-to-man going into their zone. It's very easy for the kids too. But for us, ours is way different because you never know what kind of zone you're going to face. You can run into the matchup zone. You can run into the trapping zones. And so once your action starts to pick up and everybody starts realizing what you're going to do, then it's easy to guard your zone. It's easy to guard it even in zone. So we switch everything. But we make it easy. We want to make sure it's like peanut butter and jelly. We don't want to give you no hard concept, and we have such a short amount of time to put it in because we don't want to confuse the kids. At the college level, it's all about recruiting the right kids to run what you want them to run, and making sure that they're comfortable enough to just play basketball and be them.
And so, can you give us a few drills or a favorite drill that you like to run for the offensive side of the ball?
So we do a lot of individuals. Okay. So what we do is we start off our individuals with ball handling, then we go into form shooting, and then we do moving ball handling, which is just like the in and outs and the between the legs and all that. And then we call what we call the multi-skill drill. And that's where we have our poster come up. They'll be coming off to they'll stand at the free throw line, come up, set a screen. And our first action is getting right to the nail or the free throw line and hitting the post immediately. We're practicing bounce pass and we're practicing hook passes. No one's really throwing direct passes. That's a steal. You can lob it over the top, but we want to give that solid hook pass with the left or the right hand that allows the post to catch, and their feet are too set on the ground and they go up and explode. So we do that and that's our post work. So we'll constantly do that. And we teach our post to power up. We teach our post to pump fake. We teach our post to slide to the other side and go up. So that's easy for the post play. For the guard on the other end, what they're doing is they're coming off the screen and they're going to pull up at the nail, or they're going to learn how to attack the basket or kick out to the three. And if they're catching, and then we have our wing players sliding down and they're catching and shooting a three, or they're catching and driving. Those are just a few small drills that we implement every day to make sure that our offense or all the drills that we run can be shown in our offense.
I love it. I love it. So, how long do you have to practice? What is a typical practice time for you guys?
For us, you have 2 hours. So we're probably one of those different programs. I'm really big in team bonding, and some of the kids don't like it. You know, they want to do their own thing, but we get up. You know, we use a few. We go into individual weights at 6 in the morning, so we'll get up at 6 a.m. After we're all done with our weights, we have team breakfast. And we sit there as a team and just eat and talk, and no cell phones kind of stuff. We want to get to know each other. And that's all the time. And that's because that culture that you're building, you know, you're showing them that, hey, I'm eating with you, your teammates eating with you, we're all in this together. So then they go to class, and then we have our practice time. And that practice time was in that 2 hours. We also have our individual times. And we set up in groups of 3 or groups of 4. And we make sure that we are breaking down the different drills for the kids. So it's not a whole group of 15 kids and it's just so loud, and you only have select few people that you're paying attention to. We make sure that we have enough kids, enough coaches and so few kids so they can know that we're giving them individual time and we're showing them how to be successful at this level.
That's great. And talking about team bonding and, of course, the buzzword culture, team culture, you're taking over a program that in terms of wins and losses last year, it was tough. And so what is your plan to implement your culture and get things going for your program?
So last year they won 1 game. I think the year before that they won 3. And so when I took the job, I told them one thing I'm big about is just making sure that we bond together. And they understood. They said, hey, we want a young guy who wants to make sure that everything goes right. So in my first 30 days, when we come on campus as a team, August 20th, we're having team dinner. Okay, we're going to sit down. You know, I think some of the parents will be dropping them off. They can join us, but we're going to have team dinner to where we all get to talk and get to know each other. And they're going to tell us about, you know, them, where they come from, and what their parents do or something like that. We're going to build that kind of culture. Like, I want my kids that when they go to lunch together, they're not sitting individually. That's not good. That's just negative culture right there, because now that builds what we call cliques. And when you have too many cliques in a program, your team is bound to fail. Okay. So that's why this whole team breakfast is important. Every single morning we have team breakfast, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday. You know, we have a later breakfast. So I'm still trying to decide if we're going to do it on Saturdays and Sundays together. But I know Monday through Friday we'll have our team breakfast. And another big thing is we celebrate. You know, after every single drill, we have to celebrate. I actually learned that from the guy at PGC. He does after every single drill, they blow the whistle and they celebrate, high fives, do all this kind of stuff, you know, and it's tough. You know, drills get hard. There are going to be days where drills suck and kids really didn't do well, okay? But you got to know that your teammates are there and they're going to be picking you up. You know, and another huge culture piece for us is we will not have a quiet gym. We're going to be blasting music. Kids are going to be communicating the entire time. If you don't communicate, that means you don't want to be a part of us. You don't want to be a part of Spartan Way. Okay? We're talking the entire time. I don't care if it's talking about going to the movies. Like you're sitting on defense, but like, man, I just seen the Joker last night. You know, something like that. It's all about communication. That's the kind of culture that you build. Now, and I know I may hurt a lot of these coaches' feelings, but everybody wants to be sitting there and be like, ball, 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 ball. That gets tiring after a while. A kid don't want to yell ball all day. Like, I want that kid. I told all my girls when I recruit them, I want that kid that'll hype you up. Like, I'm sitting down on defense, and they're sitting there saying, oh, yeah, you got her. Oh, yeah, she ain't nothing. She ain't nothing. You know, what is that going to make you do? It's going to make you play harder. And you're going to have fun doing it. Then what happened when you stop that person from scoring? Yeah, that's what we need. That's what we need. You know, that's the excitement. That's the culture that I'm trying to bring over to CNCC.
Man, I think the kids are going to love it, Coach, with your enthusiasm and energy. And I totally agree. It often seems like, you know, particularly in shell drill, we'll have the kids yell ball, 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 ball. I don't know how much of that is fully transferable to, you know, the big stage as in a game.
Exactly.
But what is transferable is energy and passion. So, can you give us recommend a book that you may be working on or have read that really influenced your coaching and educational philosophies?
So I read tons of basketball books, and Coach K's book, it's about his keywords. And I just can't remember off the top of my head. I wish I had it in my hand, but I read this book every single year. And all it is Coach K is telling us about different words that he used. And it's just single words, too. It's not like a whole phrase or something, but he uses simple words like today's word of the day would be compete. And he'll tell a story about a time that he was placed in and that how he got his kids to compete. He'll go into, and if compete is the word of the day, the first thing he goes into the huddle, to get them to calm down, he says the word of the day, hey, we're competing. Okay. And then that gets everybody settled, calm down so he can man his huddle. And I've been using that for 5 years, and my kids actually love it. Like on our practice plan, if we have a word of the day, we put it right up there. On our practice plan, we put it on the board. It can be dive, or it can be jump ball, or something that just gets them to understand the emphasis and the story behind it, so that one day if they do something special as a group, I can use that. When I've had that word they compete, I can talk about how we compete at that time. That's what everybody's trying to earn. They want to be in that storyline. And so for every program I've ever coached, I can go on all day over. I use 50 words of the day, and I can tell a different story for every single program that I was blessed to coach. And that's what the kids like to hear. They want to hear their story.
That's awesome. I haven't read that book. I think it's called Beyond Basketball.
Yes,
that's right?
That's it.
Yeah, I love that. Word of the day, celebrate after every drill using your highlight word of the day. That really seems like it could really add to the buy-in of the team.
Yes, sir. And that's all they want. Kids want to buy in. The kids want coaches that care. Okay. If you show them that you care, like for us doing the breakfast, or for us reading a book together, or even when we do study hall as a group, you know, there'll be certain days that I just probably bring in pizza and we'll sit there and eat pizza as a group. You know, as long as kids know that you care, I guarantee they'll lay it all on the line for you. And I've had every single program that I was blessed to coach, I showed them I care, you know, and every kid, and losing is hard. You can't, in this level, you can't lose and just hang on it like, man, 2 weeks ago, we should have beat Duncanville or something, right? You lose, then you move on. You talk about it at 30 minutes, then you get your kids pumped back up for the next game. And that's what they want to know. They want to know, all right, is coach going to hang on and keep dogging us over? Is coach going to move on and get us ready for the next one? And how much does he care after the loss? Will he talk to us, or will he just shut us out? You know, kids just want to be loved. That's all.
That's awesome. I agree 100%. And I forgot to ask you this, talking on the offensive side of the ball, since you're using a lot of ball screen, what type of shot efficiency are you looking to get within your offense?
Today's day and age with basketball, thanks to Steph Curry, Curry has brought out the three. Everyone wants to shoot three. That's why they love the dribble drive. It's either a layup or a three. For us, we want a layup or a mid-range shot. Okay, we want high efficiency shots. We want great percentage shots. The further you get away from the basketball, the lower the percentage is. But you might run into, I got a fantastic returner coming back, and she can shoot the lights out of the gym. So there may be a time where, we're kicking out to her to make sure she get her feet set because that's her strength. Or we have a kid that doesn't shoot the three well. She gets to the basket. Her mid-range game is fantastic. We're going to use that to our advantage. Okay, so but my efficiency is all about getting the higher percentage shot and get to the free throw line. Free throw line is very important. That means that team is in foul trouble. That means their best player could be in foul trouble. We want to get to the free throw line as much as possible.
It's great. It's great. So, the ongoing discussion in the coach's world about mid-range, it sounds like it's going to be alive and well in your program. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Professionally speaking, who has been one of your greatest influences on your career?
Whew. I was sitting there talking about this the other day. The person that has just been phenomenal in my career is my dad. Okay. I didn't have a father growing up. My stepdad came into the picture, and he took over a family with 2 kids. And he just raised us into phenomenal people. And he was my first coach. He never missed a game when I was in high school. He came to college games. He never misses my first game I coached as a grown man. I can always promise my dad's going to be there, And so he's the guy I'll call because he's one of those basketball junkies as well. And it's funny because we'll be sitting at Thanksgiving dinner, and he'll be like, man, I think such and such should have came off the screen like this, or I think you could have played better D on this or something, and he just been so influential with my success. I promise I would not be successful without him.
What a great foundation. And you just reminded me of my own dad talking about sports. It's what a great way to bond and kind of get an earful sometimes.
Yes. And, we used to go fishing like every Saturday. Like after my games, I could have a really good game. I could score 40. My dad would say, man, you could have had 45 if you would have made those free throws. I'd be like, oh, we won the game. What do you mean? My dad, he was my biggest critic, and he's just an amazing guy. Like, he's excited about Colorado Northwestern. He actually, we're doing our fundraiser. He bought our first fundraiser. I have a nephew that has autism. And so he wanted the first game dedicated to our nephew. He gave us $1,000 to have like little mini games for the kids in the community during the halftime and give them little shirts, autism awareness shirts. And that's how important, these parents can be to their kids, and it's funny because I read all these comments about how parents are really, being very negative on the kids and sometimes and pushing them into the wrong direction. But there are great parents out there. And as you said, your father's one, my dad is one. Okay. You got parents out there that just want the best for their kids. And I'm not saying every parent wants the best for their kid. Some parents just want the best for them, but there are parents out there that just want their children to be successful. And my dad was I feel like he was the pioneer for that, because we would sit, like I said, at dinner. We'll sit, we'll go to the movie theater and we'll run into one of our players and he'd be like, man, Brandon, I cannot believe you shot that three. I'm like, how the heck do you remember that? It was probably like 2 weeks ago. My dad will remember every single thing. And it wasn't just big on me. He was big on my brother. My stepsister, who was an All-American track runner, she actually coached at Bethune-Cookman College as one of their top track coaches as well. He never missed one of her track meets. That's the kind of parent that's the parent that you want. You want a parent that's going to be there, and he's going to be dad. He can be your hardest advocate, but he's always going to be dad first. Okay. If you don't want to talk about it, my dad wouldn't talk about it. He'd be like, all right, talk about something else, talk about school and all that kind of stuff. But if he wanted to talk about it, he'll tell you you did good, or he'll tell you did bad.
I love it. It's great. And so wrapping up here, you've had the awesome experience to be a head coach in high school and now in the collegiate level. So what advice would you give high school kids? I'm a high school girls head coach, as you know. What advice would you give high school players that have dreams and aspirations of playing at the next level?
Ooh, I love this question. I would tell every single kid to dream big. Don't let nobody shut your dream out. When I was growing up, people told me I wasn't going to be nothing. People told me that I wasn't going to go to college and play basketball. People told me I was never going to be a head college coach. People told me all these negative things. Live your dream big, and do what it takes for you to get to that dream. Do whatever it takes. If you got to put extra hours in the gym because you want to go D1, go put those extra hours in. If your coach sits there and tell you that you're not good enough, show him that you're good enough. Now, don't do it to prove a point to him. Do it because you want to show him that you belong. That's the difference. Kids don't understand that difference. I don't want to prove you wrong, because if I start doing everything and trying to prove you wrong, that means I'm allowing you to control my life. Instead, show them that you belong. So that means that you deserve to be on the court. You deserve to do whatever it takes. Just continue to dream big and never let no one shut your dream out.
That's great. Great. Dream big. Show them that you belong. This has been incredibly insightful, Coach Gilbert, and I congratulate you on your new position. You're going to do great there. And thank you so much for sure, Coach. And thank you so much for coming on the Race and Pace podcast to talk about life and a little bit of basketball.
I'm excited. I can't wait, for some people to listen to it, and I can't wait to be on another episode. This is this is a very great experience for me, and I'm so honored that you even, gave me a chance to speak. So I just want to thank you, and this is just fantastic.
My pleasure, Coach. Trust me, the honor is mine, and you guys stay safe, and I'll be in touch.
Sounds great.